Hey guys, I hope you guys can hear me. Whew, I'm running a little bit behind tonight. Hey Neela, hey Jamie, Sue, Pat, Joan, Louise. Neela, she's with us tonight. Yay! Hope everybody can hear me okay. Yay! Good, good, good. Thank you, Jamie, for that confirmation. And Sue, she hears me typing, so yep, we're good. Let's play the intro and we will go ahead and get started, guys. I hope everybody's doing okay. Yeah, I hear you, Neela. Sometimes that happens. That's why I always say we go live every Monday. Life providing. Hi, Miss Sheila. Hey, Baskets. Lorraine. Good to see you all. We are going to be putting together this file. If you are a Patreon supporter, you have access to this file. I put it up yesterday on the Ko-fi Exclusives tab, and if you are a Ko-fi monthly supporter, you also have access to it. If you are not and you want this file, if you do one-time support today only, you will gain access to this file in the post on Ko-fi. Let me put that in there for anybody that needs it. And you can gain access to it. Now, if you want this file and do one-time support, you have to do it today. After today, you will have to do monthly support to get it. But you get everything for the next 30 days on one-time support, and monthly you get everything, past, present, and future, as long as you're a supporter. Hi, Hetty. So, this is just I know you guys have seen me do like the waterfall card that had several photos in it, and the waterfall insert that went into a couple of explosion boxes that I did. So I thought, well, we'll do this. I saw somebody else do it. I want to say, oh, it was Stampin' Up. And I thought, oh, why don't we just do that 2-panel, and I'll make a mechanism for that for a card. I want to say could have been Jan. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I follow a lot of Stampin' Up demonstrators because I one time sold Stampin' Up, and one of our supporters is a Stampin' Up demonstrator. So I see a lot of files and I get them all mixed up. I don't know who it was. But anyway, one of the demonstrators this month did a card similar using punches. I think she used punches. And I said, I can do that in Design Space because I already have done the waterfall file, and all it is just 2 tabs instead of 5 or 6. So let's go ahead and take a look at the file. Now your file is going to look a little bit different because I was in here playing around and changing some things to do a little bit different card than the one that I posted. But it's still the same file. I just changed it. I wanted a different color panel for the front and things like that. You can eliminate this panel altogether, guys. I just did it to balance the weight on the card because you've got so much on the front panel when we put this together. You need a little bit of balance because generally I will write my sentiment right on the inside of the card. but because some of the paper that I'm using is a little heavier weight, and by the time that you do that to make the mechanism so it won't wear out, you're going to need some extra weight on this side. So if you plan to put a sentiment on there, leave this in there and put it in. If you prefer to stamp your sentiment, just get rid of the writing and stamp it. I found that saying online, one of the card places, or an image or something, so I didn't write that. So I'm not that good at poetry. So, but that sentiment I found somewhere a long time ago on the internet. So you can either delete that and stamp your whatever you want for your sentiment, but you do need that weight to balance the card. And you'll see that as you put it together. Otherwise, when they try to stand it up or something, like if you do it for a thank you or a get well or something like that, it's going to fall face forward without some balance on it. So you have your card base, and then you have your balance piece. Then this piece, which I turned green here, it will be solid white, the same size as this piece here with the sentiment on it. That's going to be your card front. These two pieces are going to be your mechanism, and it is doubled up. I used 110 here. Everything else is 80 pound. This is 110, and that's just so that we're just going to glue those two panels together because that's going to help the mechanism, and we don't want it ripping. So just so you know, when they start pulling on that, you don't want it to rip. So you do need to set that up into pieces. You can do two pieces of designer if you want. You just don't see it, so there's no need. And it started storming here, so guys, if you hear thunder and lightning and stuff, I'm sorry. I can't change that. These square pieces, there are two of those. I have that attached. These are just out of the same color as I did my card, just for an accent piece. And then I did my also this sentiment, happy birthday, and then my decorative sentiment, and you can change this out to any image you want for the front, and you can make that square. I just thought it was another little surprise element there. And then you have your decorative pieces, which I used a coordinating, I'm going to show you guys all that in a minute. I used coordinating ink to the color of my paper, so it was subtle, but looked stamped, if that makes any sense. Even though it was drawn by the Cricut, it looks stamped because of the way that I did it. And this piece here, this is your mechanism. And just so you know, if you, whatever you cut this out of, this is going to show on the front, this part right here. This part will not, except one teeny tiny little bit of it. So if you don't like, if you're using like a two-sided paper like Cricut like I'm using, and you don't like what's on the back side, cut two so that you can glue them together. I'm just saying this may or may not work, so you may have to just deal with the color, but this is my first one of trying it with two pieces because I don't like the backside color of that cardstock I chose, and we're going to see if it works. I don't foresee any reason why it won't, but if it doesn't, you guys are going to see that when we put it together. And then here is your envelope, and I did size this envelope. It's one that was in Design Space, but I had to go in and slice a piece out because once it was folded over, it was too short because of our tab that comes out on the side from our mechanism. So I went in and sliced this off and added some height in here to make the flap a little bit longer, and it just comes in at, you have an inch to spare, so if you want to slice that off and change the style, you can most certainly do that. And I think that covers it for the file. Like I said, your file is going to look a little bit different, but you'll see as we put it together where the pieces go, so you'll know how to change them to cut out of whatever paper you want to cut from. Hi, Miss Catherine. Okay, so let's go over to the overhead cam and we will go ahead and get started. And don't pay attention to my mock-up here, guys, because I did several mock-ups to make sure I got this to fit right. So I have extra dots on here because I couldn't get my dots to come out. They were coming out really thick on my Nuvo drops, so this one is kind of crowded up. But when you pull this mechanism, it is going to pull this back, and I know that that's really tight in there, and we're going to fix that. I put mine together. My measurement was a little bit off on this one, but I've got a way of fixing that. So, and then when you open it up, you have your sentiment inside. And that's what I said about it being heavy. This is so heavy with these pieces and then all these pieces that you need that to balance it so it doesn't just flop over every time you try to stand it up. So, and if anybody wants to know, this was Cricut paper, the solid. This was Park Lane from a paper, this 110 from Joann's. It's in a paper pack. It has several different, it has like 5 or 6 different patterns in it. But it is from Joann's. It's Park Lane 12 by 12 cardstock. And then, of course, Nuvo drops. And on that one, I used the light turquoise Cricut pen, just in case anybody wants to know, for all the writing. And you can see how the flowers look like I stamped them with the ink coordinating paper ink, but they are just Cricut pens. And then we did the envelope. Now my envelope I did from, I have a paper stack. I don't know if you guys use your Michaels or Hobby Lobbies or your scrapbook papers, but they make great paper for envelopes. It's not too thick, it's not too heavy. It's like an envelope weight. So I really like those for that. This is not the exact one I have. I have a couple of them, but I get these. I've had this one a couple of years. I got this one at Hobby Lobby, and it's got tons of paper in it. It's perfect for making envelopes. The one that I used this out of, and the one that we're using for this card, came out of a color box set. And I think this is still available, guys. It's 28 pound is what it is. I think that's what they call that. It's like copy paper. So 28 pound. But I use these for envelope making. So if you're into making your own envelopes, instead of buying them pre-made to coordinate with your cards, buy a couple of these on sale because they work really, really, really well. And the cardstock I'm using tonight is Cricut. This is from the Juneberry collection, and I'm using this, just so you guys can see, the deluxe paper Juneberry. It's not any designer, I don't think. And I used this pink, and that's why I said I didn't like the green that was on the back of that. I mean, I like it, but I didn't like it with this pink. To me, I just didn't like the way that it went together with the Cricut cardstock, the solid color. So I took another sheet out of there, the one that had the flowers on it and the green. I thought that green was a better fit. So the back of my mechanism, I don't want that to show. It just, to me, it clashes. But go with what you like. I did go ahead and put my Nuvo drops on my pieces, guys. I don't advise that you do that. I advise that you do it after, but I wanted it to be dry when I showed you guys everything at the end. And so I put mine on there already because I knew where they were going to go. But when you design yours, do yours after. So let's start with this mechanism so it has time to dry. Like I said, because I want it to be the same color on both sides, I'm going to glue these together. If you're like the color of yours, the other one that I did was white on the back, so I didn't care. It didn't bother me. It coordinated, and I didn't do 2. But it was also 110 pound cardstock. And this is not. And I just took that pen out of there, and this still acts dried up. It's trying to give me a problem. art glitter glue. Did everybody have a great Father's Day? Make sure my edges and corners are together. I hope everybody had a good time visiting and all that kind of stuff yesterday. I am absolutely worn out, guys. Some of them know I lost one of my pets back in March, and my other pet wasn't doing well. So I'm a little off on that. There we go. I adopted a puppy on Saturday, and she is wearing me out. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kathy. It's going in and out because my hands are moving under it. Let me raise you guys up a little bit. Maybe that will stop it from doing it as much. Is that a little bit better? Hopefully I won't get too close to it and knock you guys out of focus. It should go back in. It should snap back in when I move my hand back down. So we're going to let that dry. And then this is just plain 110 white going on the back of this. This is the piece with the hole in it for your mechanism. And if you're doing this like I am, if you're using 110, you probably don't, and it's patterned, you probably don't need this reinforced piece, but I did it anyway. Make sure you cover around that hole. You don't want it to separate on you. And then you're just going to glue those two together. Just kind of beef up that pretty paper is all we're doing so far. And we're going to let those dry, and while those are drying, we'll put the envelope together. And all you do for your envelope is fold on those 4 score lines. Like so. And now I'm going to place glue. And the way that I like to do this is with this folded in and these folded back, I'm just going to stay, because if you go past that certain point, you're going to glue your flap to the inside, and you don't want to do that. And just go up the side just a little bit. You want to make sure your edges stay down, but you don't need to go too far up and too far in. And then that's all there is. Envelope complete. Now some of you, I just use a sticker or glue dots on the back to close mine. If you use the temporaries, they'll be able to open it and close it without tearing the paper. Just keep in mind that your lighter papers, if you use, some people use some of the homemade or the tape runners, make sure that you're not using permanent, because if you're using permanent, it's going to rip the paper when they open the envelope. And I'm going to hold off putting my flower on there, because depending on how I put it on my card, I may use the big one and I may use one of the medium-sized ones. And I have one more. There we are. And I don't know which one I'm going to use yet, but one goes on the envelope. You want another Yorkie, Sheila? This one, I just wanted any puppy that needed a home, terrier breed, because my other dog was a terrier. You have a hard time finding 110, Lorraine? Park Lane, 12 by 12 card packs at Joann's. Let me see if I still have the cover. Yes, I do. This is what I used on the other. So if you do these, it may not say 110, but it is. It's a white core, smooth. I just know that it is from the weight of it. And that's going to come with practice. It doesn't say on there. But generally, sometimes you'll always, at least at my Joann's, when you go in there, there's a pack where somebody's torn one open to feel how thick it is. So sometimes those help. It did me, and that's how I discovered that this was 110, is because somebody had opened a pack and I felt of it, and I'm like, hey, that's a good weight for some cards and stuff. Plotter paper, yeah, that works too. But anyway, I did get a little terrier, but we think actually that she might be a husky or a shepherd mix. But she's really cute and pretty. And this is our panel. This is my decorative panel. Like I said, this is that solid white piece that's in yours. I'm just going to, I should have probably turned on my lasers so I could have absolutely gotten that perfectly straight, but I didn't. Just going to glue that one on. And this is a really quick project, guys. This takes maybe, I'm going to say 15 minutes for cut time if you use the file as I've laid it out, because there is a lot of drawing from your Cricut. A lot. So be prepared for that. But if you change out to doing stamping or flatten, print, and cut images, you can cut this file in 5 minutes. So we've got that one weighted in on the inside. And now we're ready for these pieces. And these are my decorative panels. Just taking the 2 small ones, and we're going to glue this one in. And then I want this one probably right about like that. Just determine how you want your circle on there, or like I said, you can change that out to a square, guys, whatever you want. The whole thing can't be a circle, and you'll see why here shortly. This back piece needs to remain a square. Well, it doesn't have to, but if not, you're going to see part of your mechanism off the edges of it. So, and we're just going to let those dry. And on my mechanism, if I can find my score lines, and yes, I use my double score wheel, there it is. I am going to fold on the first score line. Okay, you're folding a valley fold up to, this is my top because I already put my dots on there. If it's the same color on both sides, doesn't matter, but you're folding up, and then you're going to fold on the second score line. Keep those straight. And I am using a bone folder because I did double thickness on this. There we go. So it's going to be looking like that. Here's the top, here's the back side. That's why I said it's important as to what it looks like. But guys, you're only going to see about that much. That's all that's going to show. Whatever's showing past, that's it. That's all that you're going to see. But I just didn't like that little green strip that was going to appear there. So the next thing we're going to do, let me set this out of the way. We're going to take our small square and we're going to put glue on this portion of the mechanism. Okay, and I'm just going to fold that back so that my other square is back there, my small one. Make sure you're putting this on in the right direction. You don't want it upside down, or maybe you do, depends on the card. But you want to line it up center this way so you have the same amount of room, but you want it all the way flush against that edge, if that makes sense. I'm just lining it up on both sides and against that edge. Okay, that's it. That's all you got to do for that one. Make sure it's flush. Now we're going to, on this portion, we're just going to run a bead of glue. And if you want to use tearing tape or whatever here, you can. I prefer the glue. I think they use tearing tape on theirs. This piece, you're going to determine how it's going to go on your card. If you're going to put it on this way or however, doesn't matter unless you have a sentiment or an image that does matter. And you're going to put it down all except right up to that edge, and you're centering it that way as well. Just going to get it straight. And we're just going to leave just a slight little bitty edge, just like this. Not much, just a little bit of the edge. So it's going to look like this when you're done. And I'm going to go back and get right there on the edge of my card. I want that whole thing glued down. Not just that little part, but I don't want to come over it all the way. So let's just give that a second to dry. And while that's drying, you're going to need a little piece of ribbon. Not much. And just going to loop it right through from the bottom. And then I'm going to put it into the loop, the two tails in, and pull it tight. I like mine to lay flat. A little OCD there. And I'm just going to snip it short. Doesn't need to be long. And if you want to put a bow there, you can do that as well. Now we want this piece, and all you're going to do is put your mechanism in, just like this. Is everybody with me? Neela, when your tip does that, I put mine in a bowl of warm soapy water and I let it soak for 2 days. It took 2 days. And then you can take a piece of a needle, anything like that, and not from the top side here, but from the bottom side, you'll pull it out and it's like a big old goopy clog. And you'll pull it out that way and then do your pen through it and it'll clean it out. But I had to soak mine for 2 days to get all the gunk out, but it had been on the bottle for a really long time. Yep, put it back. Don't do as I do. Don't leave it open like I do. So we've got that threaded through, and that's all we've done. Okay, and now you want to line this up center. Get it center of your card. You're looking at the square. You're not looking at your mechanism at all. You want your square lined up, okay? So that you have about the right amount on both sides here. And with it, just set it down and then hold it right here so that your mechanism doesn't move. And open it up. And I've got my finger where my opening starts so I don't go past that. And I'm just going to put some glue right here. And then I'm going to press that over. That's it. So all I'm doing is gluing that second piece in place right there. And I stayed with my glue the width of my opening. You don't need it bigger than that. And we're just gluing it right there. That's all. Now you can pop dot this up using dimensions or little foam squares, things like that. I have one here that's no sticky on one side. But you can pop dot it up if you want. Stay away from your mechanism. If you want to use foam tape, use foam tape. And I undid my ribbon. How did I undo my ribbon? Let me fix that. I'm not going to play with a short piece. I'm just going to start over. So if you want to use foam tape, go for it. You can use tearing tape for this part. You can use glue. whatever you want. I glue mine. I prefer the glue. I don't want anything coming apart. I don't know how I did that. And just stay away from your mechanism. We're going to go on this side of it. Don't put enough glue that it squishes in and glues your mechanism. And then on each side of it, and of course your corners, make sure you get those glued down. And then you're just going to flip it over and center it right on. And now you're good to go. That's all there is to it. I pulled that a little too far. You don't want to pull it that far. Come back here, please. There we go. And that's why you don't want it right up on that edge, because if you do pull it, it's going to bend it all up. And that's what I did with this mock-up. If you could see how my corners are bending, and that's because I went flush with that, and you don't want to do that. My string just doesn't work today, my ribbon. You don't want, there we go. You could put a stop on that, I guess, back on the back side if you want, right here. But you really don't need it. If you want to put a stop is just going to be like a small strip. You could even use the strip that's cut out of just a small slither of paper on the back side, if you're afraid they're going to pull it too far. But really, if you just push it back, it's okay. Even if they pull it too far, because it has enough room to flop down without bending it. So it really doesn't matter. It's up to you. But you can put a stop on the back side of your piece here, and that should stop it from sliding. But you want to put it on the back of the mechanism on that fold itself. But if you pop dot it up, it's going to do that even easier because it has the room to do it. So now all we have to do is put on our flowers. And make sure that if you're putting something on this panel that you don't glue it to that panel. That one's kind of big. I like it, but I like this size better. So I'm just going to put some glue just to avoid getting it onto the face. I'm just going to put it on there and then place that on. And let's see. Let's put one here. Just one here. And then we have the big one I'm going to use on the envelope. I like to wait until the end to see which one, because it depends on, like I said, where this area of my design lands as to where I'm going to put that and which one I'm going to use. I hate that my little ribbon doesn't want to stay tied. I've got a fix for that though. My puppy, I did take my puppy to the vet today, and she does have a little bit of kennel cough from her vaccinations that she got. They sometimes can get that from the live vaccine they get. But she's sweet. She's a handful, but she's sweet. I'm going to pull that, and so, because it's the gross grain ribbon, I believe, just going to tie a knot there so it doesn't slip as easily. Maybe. I thought I had a fix for it. Oh, I do. But you can put a little dab of hot glue on them. Probably work better than regular glue. But I'm just going to put a little dot there to hold it. There you go, guys. And it will fit the envelope. You do have to be careful because of the raised up. You want to make sure that you put it in easily. And then you're going to fold the flap over. And I did forget to move that, guys. In the file, we'll go back to the file. I'll show you guys how to fix this. I forgot. So when I folded that envelope, I had already folded that tab. You don't want to fold that one. You want to just leave it and then fold. So let's go back over and let me show you guys how to fix that in your file. If you've already gotten it. If you don't, I'll go back and fix it. Let's go over to Design Space. I meant to fix this and I totally forgot. You're going to, excuse me, no ma'am, no ma'am. You cannot have those papers. No, no. Sorry, guys. Puppy trouble. She is right under my feet. She doesn't get far. Anyway, I'm going to detach. Oh, I've got my bar in the way over here. See if I can make it pop back. There we go. I'm going to detach, and I am going to get rid of those score lines. And I'm going to grab a new one. And come here. I know you're up there. There we are. And I am going to just stretch it across that bottom. I'm going to duplicate it and rotate it 90 degrees. And then I'm going to bring that one in there and shorten it, duplicate it, and bring one here. Because you guys can, I mean, I can put another one there, but it's going to depend on how far out your tab sticks as to how, and that depends on, and I'll show you, where your second piece lands. It should be okay right here. But you can attach one here, but if you're using paper, you're not going to need it. You can just fold it over. You saw me do that. But that's what you want, and then you're going to select those and attach. You don't really need that top score. You can score it on a scoreboard if you want, or just fold it over like I did. But that's all you need on this envelope. And I will fix it in the other one. She got mad at me because I wouldn't let her chew up some paper. I had a stack of paper and she snatched a piece off of it. Of course, designer paper always. Okay, so let me get back over there. Again, if you're using paper, you can fold that pretty easily. I've got just a second score in there. I'm not going to worry about it. So you can determine where you want yours to land with your ribbons coming out. Of course, I'm just going to pull those to the side, and that's where I'm going to fold mine. And again, temporary adhesive, and then they won't tear their paper when they open it. And that is the card, guys. Does anybody have any questions? Again, I'll go into the other file and remove that one score line, or you guys can do it if you've already gotten your file. Yes, please, thumbs up, share, like, the whole shebang, guys. Good idea, Debbie. I've done that too. Washi tape works perfect, especially in a coordinating color. It gives it just that little extra pop on the back, so it's not so plain. So a little piece of washi tape back here, that would be super cute. And you guys, you know, you can lay your washi tape out in strips. Let me just grab a roll and I will show you. Let's see. I got somebody trying to help me with that too. But you can just grab a roll of washi tape. Let me find an end. And a scrap of paper. It's not really a scrap, but it can be up here. And you can lay your washi tape out like so. And then you can take a small punch and punch that into a shape, and then you can still peel it off that paper backing, and then you have a nice cute little shape that you can place on the back here. So if you wanted a circle or a heart or whatever to close it, you could do that. I've done that before. Her name is Orchid. Sarah, the file is available to one-time supporters on Ko-fi. If you support me on Ko-fi, then you can get the file tonight and any files that I share on my lives for the next 30 days. Or if you do a monthly subscription, you can get all of my files for as long as you're a subscriber. All the past and the present and the futures for as long as you're a member. There should be something on the screen there that takes you to it. But just in case it's not working, it would help if I actually typed it correctly. There we go. There is, it's not going to let me put it in there. www.ko-fi.com/April. Oh, you want to see the puppy. Orchid. Orchid. Come. Come, come, come. Oops. Oh. Okay. Let's say hi. You want to say hi? Say, here I am. Say, here I am. Say, I'm not. I've got another one under the desk there. Say, I am not camera ready. I am not camera ready. I've got a couple of pics I will post that I posted on my personal page that you guys could see there. Oop, got the camera out of focus bad. But she is really, really, really sweet. She's a handful though. She will destroy everything. I don't have my other camera set up, so it's hard for me to show her to you guys. But I did post some photos on my page. You guys can go see. She's super, super cute. I don't know if I've got, if we could do it that way. Let's see. There's one. There she is sleeping. And let's see. Super cute pups. And she found something to bark at. Let me see. And that was the ride home. One sleeping and holding the other. Super cute, super cute. and very vocal, as you can hear. She wants something and she wants it now. But okay, guys. And Gerald, hi Gerald. Gerald did some wine glass holders out of some chipboard. And I told her that I would do a file. It will not be like her file, but I think that's what we're going to do next week to show you guys on a quicker, simpler project than my keepsake box on how to do hinges to make things like that. So I think that's what our focus will be. It's not going to be focusing directly on the files that she did. I will make a file for us to use that will be similar, and but it's going to be more focused on how you can make these chipboard boxes and create the hinges and stuff for them to pull those together to make a box out of all those square pieces. So I think that that's what we are going to do on Saturday. I'm sorry, on Saturday. That'll be Saturday's file. So that video, that live may take a little bit longer than an hour because we're dealing with chip. I will get the file posted for you guys so that you can get it cut, and then we can put it together online together so that you don't miss any steps. Yes, it will be down. Thank you, Sarah, for that reminder. Design Space. When you open Design Space, you should be getting a message that tells you it's going to be down. It's going to be down for several hours, so you need to prepare for that. That is on Wednesday, Juneteenth, Wednesday. Our next live is on the 22nd. We're going to do one of those chipboard boxes or carriers like Gerald's been doing. We're going to do those. And yes, Lorraine, she is a girl. So, thank you all for joining me. Don't forget to like, thumbs up, share, and I will catch you on Saturday at noon. I believe it's at noon. You'll see the post. I'll put it up and put it in announcements for you guys as well. Thanks for joining me. You guys have a wonderful week, and see you on Saturday.